fainting, keep repeating to yourself, it's only a collectible. It's only a collectible. It's only a collectible. It's only a collectible.
Hello, my name's Nathan Hanneman with HorrorHound, and we're back with another installment of Collect This. I received this giant box today, in fact. From NECA. It's actually, like as mentioned, it's a loot crate. This was a special curated box series where they did, I believe it was 6 masks, we'll find out here in a minute, based on the old 1981 Remco monsters. In the early 1980s, Remco was just one of many companies that started to produce action figures in that 3 3/4 inch scale. It was made popular thanks to Star Wars, obviously, but other companies began to kind of play with that 3 to 4 inch scale mark, mainly because it was great at doing vehicles and play sets that were more manageable for kids' bedrooms. Companies like Mego started doing figures in that scale for Dukes of Hazzard. You would see that with G.I. Joe with Hasbro, which became really popular thanks to Real American Hero. But there was a number of toy companies, and Remco was just one of the few that decided to bring back the Universal monsters, which was really interesting, especially in the 80s when creatures like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Psycho Killers, they were absolutely dominating cinemas. But that interest in horror, I think, also is what led to kids' fascinations with the Frankenstein monster and Wolfman, possibly because since those films were so old, they were easy to get on TV. And while Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers may be something that you'd see in the theater, Frankenstein and the Mummy was something that was a little bit more realistic for everyone. But receive this giant box. Again, I'm speculating on a lot of that. Could have just been a cheap toy line to produce for Remco, and they were trying to find something to fill that retail space since all the better licenses, more modern licenses, were already picked up by other companies. But I haven't opened this yet. And people who subscribe to the Loot Crate box, this was available for a limited time, so it's no longer available. So I apologize for making people think that this is something that they could go online and order, and I'm reviewing something that is actually accessible. But the other aspect of this video is reminding people to keep an eye on websites like Loot Crate, because you never know what new items or curated boxes they're going to start doing. And again, I'm using the professional opening tool, which in this case was a really bad mistake. But I succeed nonetheless. So I've seen photos of these. These circulated within the last few weeks, if not a month or so. And a lot of people, I can already tell, a lot of people seem really happy with the end results. But I did see some complaints. There was a number of people I saw who thought that these were going to come in some sort of collector boxes, display boxes. The advertising for this Loot Crate campaign in particular, it did sort of make it feel like these were going to be put out in boxes, but I did the research going back through the old emails, the promotions. I never saw anything that specifically said how they would be produced packaging wise. So I'm just happy to have them. As said, these are all based on the Remco action figures of 1981, which is just, again, really neat. There are probably any mask collector out there has Universal Monster masks, Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, Creature. But the idea, I believe it was Motorhead, let me see here, MOTAR heads, as a company from a guy named Mark Enright. And he seems so enthusiastic about making these throwback concepts of old toys. And if you find him on Instagram or Facebook, you can actually see some really cool sculpts he's done. He does it mostly for fun, but they're old masks, latex masks, based on classic toys. And there's a lot of Star Wars figures out there. And much like the Star Wars of Kenner in the early 80s and late 70s, the Universal Monster Remcos are very similar in style. So it makes sense that he wanted to do these. But we're just going to dive right into opening these up and seeing what we have. So the first one out of the box is the Wolfman. And these are all just so cool. I mean, just the idea of taking an old action figure and making a mask out of it. It's original. It's just so fun. And knowing that you're doing that, to have the forethought to include part of the chest and part of the shoulder and the neck, it gives it more of that feel of what it's supposed to look like. There probably is going to be people who grew up in the 90s or, the millennials who may have never seen these action figures and may find them to be a little off. But for people like me who grew up with these, they're just neat. They're just so neat. So we're just going to make a pile over here and keep opening. The next one is not exactly the most popular monster in the bunch, but this one is so cool because he included so much of that chest piece. Is the Phantom of the Opera. It's just so fun. I love opening this box and smelling that latex. Cute, nice look in there. I'll make sure I put better photos over top of these, which you've probably already seen because I'm already doing it. But I love that, the inclusion of that extra latex. It really adds to what these are supposed to be, what they're really meant to be. And then for the next one. This one's a keeper. Old Frankenstein. Got a little smile going on. Kind of reminds me of Herman Munster a little bit. But you get to see some of the detail in there. Back of these masks have a simple cut in there. I'm sure I'm not going to attempt to put it on. I got a really fat head. But again, this is another good example of reminding us that this is based on a toy. He's included the cut line and what would have been the articulation point of the Frankenstein action figure. So that's super cool. Just want to see these all on the wall next to each other. So when they did this box collection, I believe the original promotion was you could have purchased each mask separately, but the only way to get all 6 was to buy the bundle. I don't know if that's how the promotion ended. My memory was that they kind of shifted to the full collection only. I may be wrong on that. I don't know who on earth would not have just done the entire set. I don't think you'd really want to skip any of these. And we have the Mummy. If you have these old Remco figures, it would look really cool in some sort of a display with the figures. They were actually released in glow-in-the-dark variants, re-releases at one point. I don't know how successful this was for Loot Crate. It had been so cool to see all of these re-released in glow-in-the-darks. That would have been epic. But if you're a Remco Monster fan, this is you could have a lot of fun creating that display because they also did the larger scale figures. So there's quite a lot out there now, and to be able to add to that history and to that product line, just so neat. Yeah, I jumped the gun. Went to the fan favorite. For this next one, Creature from the Black Lagoon. with his two little teeth sticking out. Because everyone knows he had two little teeth sticking out. At least Remco knew. And this would have been a fantastic one to have done in the glow in the dark. Yeah, this one's going in a prominent spot in the collection for sure. I keep questioning if I want to try to slip one on my head, but masks, they don't fit me. They just don't fit. This will turn into a different type of video if I try to put that on. This is a grab the scissors and ruin the mask to get it off kind of video then. And then the last mask in the collection, if not the most powerful, and leader of the Universal Monsters, if you will, this is Dracula. You know, love the little blood droplets coming out of his, can't control where I'm putting the damn thing. But and that's it. That's the collection. And I'm going to need a lot of wall space to get these on display. But yeah, Motorheads did a really good job on these. Again, that's MORTARHEADS. Look them up on Instagram and Twitter. And make sure you just keep an eye on lootcrate.com. They're constantly throwing out inventive new concepts on their products. And some of the stuff sold out. I know that some of their Ninja Turtle products have sold out before the expiration date to order has ended. Hopefully, as we get closer to Halloween, they'll do some more fun Halloween-y type stuff. And you won't miss your opportunity to take advantage of these types of products because they really should be embraced and supported. You want to see more companies take chances on concepts like this. Otherwise, you know, we'll just end up with Funko toys for the rest of the century, which is fine too, honestly. I like those. But this is just original. It's fun. It's something I've never seen done before. Congrats to the team over at Loot Crate and over at Motorheads for taking a chance on something like this and actually getting it produced. I'm sure everyone who pre-ordered it has theirs by now and has appreciated them well enough. For those who missed out on it, unfortunately, it may be eBay for you. But again, that's kind of the point of this video. Keep your eye on Loot Crate or any of the companies that you support, whether it be NECA Toys or Super 7 or Mezco. You know, they're constantly coming up with stuff, especially around July when San Diego Comic-Con's happening or when you get closer to the fall. You want to be signing up to their social media accounts, get the push notifications, and find out what's going to come out. Because otherwise, you may end up without a Wolfman. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.